Hey, is that folk music that you play there? What is that? How do you call that folk music?
I think it was Studs Terkel who asked Big Bill Brunzi, did he consider his blues music to be folk music? And Big Bill says, well, never heard no horse.
Don't hesitate. It could be your ticket to a new tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are going to hear the story of that prima, extra, exclusive Royal Court tailor, Maciej Crab, and the trick that water spirit, Wodnik, played on him. In the old times, especially in the old country, there used to be a Wodnik like this one in every river, every lake, and every pond. Now, I would check around here. Here in New Jersey, we have a lot of rivers and lakes. I'm sure you could find quite a few Wodniks, but when you're swimming, watch out for them because sometime they can turn outright nasty. Maciej Crab was a very good tailor, but he was extremely proud. Above his door, he had a huge inscription, Prima Extra Exclusive Royal Court Tailor, Maciej Crab. Yes, that's me, the best tailor in the world. He was so proud, and he was also extremely stingy. In a huge chest in his cellar, he had a load of golden ducats, golden coins they used to have in those times. And his favorite pastime was playing with his money. Oh, my darlings. Oh, my money. Oh, my gold. I love my gold. What was that? Whenever he heard the smallest sound, he was afraid someone was coming to steal his money, and he was ready to protect it with his own body. Around his neck, he carried a huge key on a golden string, and even when he went to sleep, he would hold it tight in his fist, so tight that there always was an imprint of that key in his palm. What was that? Someone's pounding on my door. Let me see. Yeah. He opened the door, and there stood an old man, shivering with cold. Excuse me, tailor, would you please have an old coat for an old man? I am so cold, and I am nearly naked. Didn't you see the inscription on my door? It says, Prima Extra Exclusive Royal Court Tailor. I use only the finest fabrics, and I don't have anything for the likes of you. Now go jump in the lake. Yeah. He was trying to slam the door, but he couldn't budge it. And to his amazement, a huge fountain sprang up from the ground, carried the old man, who of course was a Wodnik, on top of it. I've been only testing you, tailor. I know all about your stinginess. Even my fishes are talking about it in my lake. But I am not going to bother squishing you. You will take care of your own punishment. Tonight, tailor, you will bring me your golden ducats to my lake. I will ask the moon to light your way. Oh, no. I'm not going to give him my darlings. I have connections. I just made beautiful red uniforms for the Royal Guard. Yes, they're going to help me. And he ran to the Royal Palace. Open up. Open the door. Help, help. They're murdering my ducats. What's happening to your money? Oh, no one there. he's stealing my darlings. And he spun around and ran as if someone had lit a fuse in his pants. Oh, my money, oh, my gold, oh, my darlings, they're safe, they're safe. Are they really? Let me have a look. Let me see my darlings. Oh, oh, horror, oh, horror. My darlings changed into smelly, slimy fish scales. I won't stand for it. Ah, I won't stand for it. This monster, he cannot do this to me. Oh, this chest used to be so heavy. 3 men would have been needed to carry it. And he carried the money to the lake. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you for your present. Finally, I will have something to make clothes for my fishes. Clothes from Prima, Extra, Exclusive, Royal Court Tailor. But the tailor didn't hear it anymore. The world spun around him. He turned as green as Wojnik himself, as his knees buckled under him, and that was the way that the fishermen found him the next morning. Master Taylor, Taylor, you had one too many last night. Taylor, Taylor. They turned to go when, oh, my head, oh, my head. It feels like it was made of wood. But the tailor was a completely changed man. He was all bent over, his hair was white, and he was also a better man. For whenever he heard about someone in need, he would share his food, his clothes, and his money with them. And as for that water spirit, Wojnik, he never heard about him again. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey, the show is Horse to Sing None of It. My name is Ralph Litwin, and our guest is Vit Horzeish.
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 Pretty good.
Welcome to
How are
Horse
you?
Sing Sing
Thank
None
you
of
for
It.
having me.
Our pleasure. You are the director and founder of the Czechoslovak
American Marionette Theater, yes.
and you've had glowing reviews in the New York Times.
Yes, we're happy about that.
So tell me about how you found these wonderful puppets.
Well, I used to have only 3 marionettes of my own, and I did a show once in the Czech neighborhood that's now disappearing in New York City on the Upper East Side, at Jan Hus Church on East 74th Street, and they told me we used to have a puppet theater here, so I kept asking what happened to the puppets, until they led me to the attic, and there in an old chest were all these beauties. They slept there for 50 years. They didn't have any strings, any controls, so I pulled them out and started fixing them. And I've been fixing them to this day, and they've been traveling with me all over the country.
It's wonderful. You were born in Czechoslovakia?
Born in Prague, lived there half of my life.
And what brought you to New York?
Well, the air wasn't right over there, the political air.
I see.
This was still under the communism, so that was hard to be in the arts.
I see. So this is a traditional story that we just heard?
Yes, that's a story that I've heard from my grandmother in Czechoslovakia.
It's a wonderful tale.
Thank you, thank you.
What else would you like to share with us?
I'll share with you a story about a woman named Kacha. Kacha was a very mean woman. That's why I don't like to show her face. And she liked nothing better than dancing. Every Sunday she would walk to the village tavern, sit in the corner, and wait for the dancers to come for her. No one would ever ask her for a dance because she was so mean. And there was such beautiful music playing. She would have loved to dance to that. Excuse me, young man, is that the way you play your violin? Try again. I have to do everything for you. Sama královna ceduličku psala, aby šohajka na vojnu dostala. Čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, hej, bogaj, 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 čáry nebogaj. And everybody was dancing except for Katja. Everybody was dancing. Sama královna, ceduličku psala, hej, ceduličku psala, aby šohajka z tej vojny dostala, hej, z tej vojny dostala. Čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, hej, bogaj, 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 čáry nebogaj.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Everybody was dancing except for Katja. And she sat there in the corner every Sunday for 20 years without a single dance. And she was getting meaner and meaner and meaner. Finally, one Sunday, she thought, I would dance with the devil himself if he asked me to. At that moment, the door opened, and in came a stranger. He had a beautiful hat and a green cape. Maybe he was a park ranger or a hunter. He walked across the dancing floor, bowed deeply, and said in a melodious voice, "Excuse me, young lady, would you please dance with me?" Katja looked around who he was asking, but no one would sit close to her. It's me, he's asking me." She jumped onto his neck. He put his arm around her, and they danced. Sama královna, ceduličku psala, hej, ceduličku psala, aby šohajka z tej vojny dostala, hej, z tej vojny dostala. Čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, čo bogaj, nebogaj, čáry nebogaj, hej, bogaj, 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 čáry nebogaj. They danced one dance and another and another. Soon it was midnight. The musicians were packing their instruments, and it was really dark and scary. And Katja said, I would like nothing better than to dance with you all my life. Well, that could be arranged, but you would have to come with me to my home, and that is a long way away. But if you climb onto my back, I can carry you there. Katja didn't have to be asked twice. She jumped onto his back, and the stranger laughed. He turned into the devil that he was and flew with her to the bottomless pit. Honey, we're home. Get off my back. Katja wouldn't let go. Honey, it's been a long flight and only peanuts to eat, and you're just a little bit on the heavy side. Katja held on. So he asked his friends to help him, and they pulled one way, and he pulled the other way, and they pulled, and he pulled. They nearly tore the poor devil in two, but they couldn't get Katja off his back. He went to see Lucifer. "Excuse me, Prince of Darkness, would you please help me? I picked up this woman and she doesn't let go. Please, please, pretty please, get her off my back. Oh no, said Lucifer. You should have left her alone. Katja has a long and sinful life ahead of her. Take her back where you took her. Oh well, I will fly her back. He was so tired, he couldn't fly anymore. He had to walk all the way back to the earth. And it was a long walk and a hot summer day. Finally, he came to a meadow where a shepherd in a white sheepskin coat, exactly like mine, was tending his sheep. Excuse me, shepherd, would you please help me carrying this young lady on your back for a little while? I'm going to reward you handsomely. Look at that. I'm sorry. If you're willing to pay, and if she's willing, why not? Katja was really bored with the devil, and the shepherd was really handsome. So she jumped right over onto his back. Oh, that's heavy. The devil flew up in the air. He had to use his magical power, pidlicky, padlicky, pidlicky, padlicky, to get back to the ground. Oh, what did I do to myself? Such a heavy load and such a hot day. Oh, and she keeps yakking and scolding me. Forget about it, bye. Oh, look at this nice little pond here full of fishes. I got it. What if I pulled one arm very carefully out of my coat? Careful, quiet. Did Katja notice anything? No, good. And what if I pulled out the other arm? Yeah. Did she notice anything? No, good. And what if I bent over and tossed her in the water? I can fly. I'm so light. The devil was overjoyed to hear about that. I am going to reward you tremendously, but now I have some business to take care of. I'll be back as soon as I've talked to my broker. In this country, there was a king. He was bad. He was spending money right and left, waging wars in faraway countries. One day he looked into his treasury. What's happening? Where's my money? My treasury is empty. We're in the red. Prime Minister, Chief Justice, help, what are we going to do? His Chief Justice and his Prime Minister were even worse than the king. They were stealing from the king and from the people, but they had an answer for everything. Your Majesty, it's very simple. We are going to impose new taxes. Yes, that's it. Taxes, 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 taxes. Well, that's a good idea, but we've done that 3 times already this year. What if my people cannot pay? Your Majesty, we're going to call it user fees. And we're going to put them in jail. Yes, beating in jail, beating in jail. Well, I guess that's the way to do it, but it's so sad. What should we... I know, let's have a party, a fundraising party. Call my chief astrologer, I want to hear what's in the stars. The astrologer looked at the stars. Your Majesty, I don't dare. Oh, don't be afraid, we're not going to punish you for something that's written in the stars. Tell us. Your Majesty, it's written up there that your Chief Justice and your Prime Minister are going to be taken away by the devil in 3 weeks. I love it. Now what about me? Let me hear it. Your Majesty, it's not me, it's the dim star over there. It says that in 3 more weeks, the devil will take you. Throw him to jail and let him rot there for his impudence. And we are going to party for 6 weeks. Party, party, party. And they started partying, but in a day the Chief Justice and the Prime Minister tiptoed away to their mansions, and they started giving away to people everything they had stolen from them. And in 3 weeks, the devil appeared to Cuba the shepherd. Now is the time for your reward. You can save the Chief Justice and the Prime Minister, but mark my words, do not try to save the king. You would be risking your own life. Now follow me. Cuba followed the devil to the Chief Justice's mansion, and he got there just in time to see the poor man being picked up in a huge bag. He stepped over and said, "Run away, devil, or else!" And the devil started shaking and shivering and showing a tremendous fear. He dropped the bag and Cuba followed him to the Prime Minister's mansion. And he got there just in time to see the same thing happening all over again. The poor man was tossing and turning in a huge bag, and Cuba stepped over. "Run away, devil, or else!" And the devil started shaking and shivering and showing a tremendous fear. He dropped the bag and now the king stopped partying and came to Cuba for help. "Oh, shepherd, help me. Do something for me." "Your Majesty, I would love to, but I can't. I would be just risking my own life." "Oh, please, please, pretty please, I'll be a good king." "Your Majesty, let's talk about this. If you promise to be a good king for the rest of your days, I can promise to be there. I will try my best, and that's all I can say right now, and I am putting my own life on the line. Is that a deal? Is that a deal?" The king changed so tremendously that his people started liking him again, and they were sorry for him in 3 weeks. He looked everywhere out of the palace windows. He couldn't see Cuba the shepherd, so he resigned himself to his fate, climbed on his own into the devil's bag, and the devil picked him up and carried him out the gate and down the wide marble staircase into the French garden and by the pond with golden fish, when Cuba came running over the hill yelling, "Run away, devil, run away." "Didn't I tell you? You cannot save the king. You're risking your own life." "I don't care about my life, and I don't care about the king, but Katja is alive, and she's asking everywhere about you." No one ever heard about him again. Cuba wouldn't take any reward, except perhaps a bag of gold. Oh, this is heavy, just as big as the one that the 3 men were being carried away in. Let me put it here in my cellar. And he became the chief counselor to the king. "Thank you, shepherd. Thank you, Your Majesty." And when the old king died, Cuba succeeded him to the throne. Welcome, King Shepherd the First. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Very nice. Wonderful show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We should tell folks how they can find out more information about your performances. You do larger groups of puppeteers and...
Yeah, we do twice a year. We do a bigger show with more people, puppetry and scenery. And they can find about it on our website.
Which is czechmarionette.org.
Yes, Czech Marionettes, plural, .org.
Did you, how did you learn about the trade of being a marionette puppet master?
Well, I played with the marionettes as a kid. Many Czech children have toy marionette theater, so I had my mother's toy marionette theater actually from 1920s, and me and my brother and my sister put on shows. And then I saw puppet theaters. The tradition is really alive, and there's several professional puppet theaters, some of them doing shows in the old style. So from there and from what the puppets that I found at Janusz Church taught me, I really had to figure it out.
It's wonderful. Thank you for coming and sharing it.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to have the people dance again while we roll the credits? I particularly enjoyed that dance.
Sama královna ceduličku psala, hej, ceduličku psala, aby šohajka z tej vojny dostala, hej, z tej vojny dostala. Čubugaj, nebugaj, čáry nebugaj, čubugaj, nebugaj, čáry nebugaj, čubugaj, nebugaj, čáry nebugaj, hej, bugaj, 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 čáry nebugaj.
Are we out? We're not out.
Well, let's keep dancing. So, I was saying that we travel all over the country. So we just came back from California. Before that, we went to Maryland, Massachusetts, Maine, all the M states. And with a bigger show, like I talked about, that we put on twice a year, we went all the way to Pakistan in Asia.
Wow.
So that's a lot of driving. And they helped me to drive, but don't tell anybody, please, because they don't have a driver's license. So
You want to talk about the one marionette that was not in
the marionettes that I didn't use is a really beautiful old lady